Hey guys, it's Meggie. I don't know if I'm going to end up doing a voiceover for this later, but anyway, the Chaos Wheel chose black and brown, and I am a little bit bored, so we're going to make a quilt square because that's what I do, apparently. If you hear noise in the background, that's because my toddler's watching some Lucas and Friends on my Switch because yay, educational videos. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, careful baby, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. Move it there so it's not on your feet. Okay. Okay, that was 24. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hopefully my husband's voice isn't carrying too badly, but anyway. So I started crocheting. The backstory. I started crocheting when I was 9. I think my Auntie Sal got me my first yarn and hooks when I was 9 for Christmas. And she taught me like the super basic stitches. And I think the very, very first thing I ever crocheted was this very shiny, sparkly, elasticy, like stretchy scarf that was probably way too short, but I gave it to my cousin Christelle, and she said she liked it. And she's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years older than me. So it meant a lot to like 9-year-old me that she liked it and said she'd wear it. Don't know if she ever did. If she didn't, no hard feelings. It was probably terrible. I probably restarted it at least twice because, you know, when you're just starting out, everything is hi.
Hi, I'm talking to
Myself.
Oh, are you recording?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You have to edit.
It's fine. I just figured I would, you know, do a quilt square. It's gonna take me like an hour.
Okay. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, sorry for the ambient noise. Sorry, not sorry about what I said. But yeah, so like, because everybody's first crocheting projects are like terrible. Actually, no, like, I bet there are some people who are really, really good with their hands, but me as a 9-year-old just figuring out, I did not understand it. And like, I really liked it, but you know, that first project would have been, I bet it was wild. There was probably because I don't think I learned to count stitches or how to be consistent when I should like turn for a very long time. At least a few years. Yeah. Let's see. So today I'm doing a quilt square. You guys have seen my like 5 bajillion quilt squares. I'm almost done with the quilt. I'll give an update some other time when the chaos wheel says to. Or when I finish it. This probably, oh, well, maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see if this square ends up in my current quilt or if it goes into another quilt. But yeah, I'm doing a quilt square because I used to just make scraps blankets. Hold on, I should really back up. Yeah, we're gonna go on the longest yarn. Haha, I snuck in a pun for you, Kat. About my yarn. So I started crocheting when I was 9. I very quickly figured out that the double stitch is my favorite stitch. I'm not a big counter, so oh, speaking of counting, I should probably double check and make sure this is correct before I move on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 4. Okay, cool. We're good. I am aware that I hold my crocheting hook and my projects somewhat unconventionally, and it probably is exacerbating my carpal tunnel, but oh well, c'est la vie. Yeah, so like I said, I've been crocheting since I was 9, which means that we're at about a quarter century now. All of my earliest, all of my earliest projects were scarves. I did used to primarily use single strand. I know that my earliest projects would have been done with like Lion Brand, the colorful, soft, like spirally yarn. That's actually kind of a pain in the butt. For my quilts, I am currently using oh, it's not the red heart stuff. It's let's see. I don't know what I was talking about. Let's see. Yeah, I used to do a bunch of scarves. And mostly rectangular things. Like I said, I don't really count, and every magic circle I've ever tried to do has ended up looking more like a dish than a flat circle. Um, sorry, like more like a bowl, like not a flat dish. Because even when I try to count, it looks kind of funky. I do know how to knit. I taught myself how to knit around, I'm gonna say like 22-ish. My age, not the year. Because I know for sure I was knitting in the show John Mark and I did in 2014. Just for like a scene, but it was fun because I was working on a scarf that I just added to every night of performances. Yeah, so once I graduated from scarves, I basically switched to blankets. And I think the reason I stick with blankets is that because I don't have to count the stitches anymore, because I've gotten to the point where I can recognize where the end of it is, I pretty much only just count like the first and second rows while I'm chaining the first, and then after the once I finish that first row, which is always the hardest to me. Yeah, so I switched to blankets, and in particular, what I really liked to do was something that I call scraps blankets, which is to say that any yarn that was like cut off or left over, or something that was like super tangled and then I had to like cut it up into pieces, all of those pieces would end up getting consolidated into a blanket that just changed colors and changed textures depending on what yarn I was using. I mostly use acrylic. Whatever the standard stuff at Michael's is, that's my go-to. It might be Red Heart. I don't know. I take off the paper, and most of the time I'll ball it up. I have a special technique for balling center pull yarn that maybe I'll record sometime. But yeah, so I would always just make these long scraps blankets things, and I really enjoyed it, but they do get very large and very heavy because over the years, like one of my things is that I like to do 2 threads at the same time. It makes it lovely and thick and not so like holy. and it's very warm and it's very heavy. It's almost like a weighted blanket. But like I said, it does make it very heavy. And here in California, it does get very hot. So then I would end up just not crocheting like half of the year because it was too hot to do so. But I guess this is now a couple years ago for my younger cousin, the one I was tutoring. I made her my first ever quilt. And so prior to that, I had made, let's see, I made one for my baby brother. Made one for my parents. Made one for my other brother and his wife. And I made one for Kit Kat. And I made one for my friend Vic. So I think that's 5 scraps blankets. Oh, and I made one for me and JM, and I made one for the baby. In the scraps style, but I let her pick the colors. So I guess that's 7. I made 7 blankets of varying sizes, and they would all have been a bunch of different colors, although, you know, by a certain point I did end up standardizing the yarn that I bought because I'm first of all, I'm allergic to wool. And so I can't use wool. I can't just like grab anything at random. I have to do acrylic. I have to make sure it's not a wool blend. So like I like the Karen cakes, but I have to be really careful to get the ones that aren't wool and acrylic blends. And I like a certain thickness of yarn. I probably don't use the needle size that's recommended because I like tight stitches. But, you know, just over the years, you kind of find your own style, your own preferences. And yeah. So a couple of years ago, like I was saying, I switched to making quilt squares. And my first quilt project was for my younger cousin, who just graduated 8th grade. Congratulations. Love you. Well done. And we made, like, it was very much in tandem. Like a lot of the times when I'm making blankets or whatever, I make them as like a surprise. I gift them as a surprise. Because one, they take a very long time, and I have ADHD, and so even though this is a very like repetitive, like get your brain into like theta waves mode type hobby for me, I'm not always consistent, so I don't want to give people, I don't want to tell people, oh, I'm making you a blanket, and then like they think it's going to come by a certain time, because when did I start making blankets? Well, the first one was for my baby brother, and I think that might have been before we moved out of our house that I grew up in. So I'm going to say probably around 2011, maybe 2010, 2011 would have been my first scraps blanket. I did make blankets prior to that. The first blanket I ever made, I do believe I gave to my cousin, who is the daughter of my auntie Sal, who taught me to crochet. I believe I gave it to her for her birth, and as far as I know, it still exists. I believe we found it in like the ottoman of one of our auntie's houses a few years back. Don't quote me on that, but I was pretty excited that it still existed, and that like the stitches are still like in pretty good shape, considering, that it was like my first ever blanket, and I would have made it. Oh my gosh, how old am I compared to her? I think she turned 21 this year. So, how old am I? 34, and her birthday. 34 minus 21 is 13. I would have made it when I was about 13. Yeah. So like I said, I have made blankets before, but specifically the double stitch, double thick is what I like to call it when I talk about my blankets. I started making those around 2011. And then a few years ago, I switched to the quilts. And my cousin and I worked together on it because I wanted to make something very personalized. I started making the blanket for her, I think, when I started tutoring her. And I started it around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving year before last, give or take. And then I finished it like May or so last year. I know for sure I finished it before her birthday because that was my goal. I wanted to finish it before her birthday. And her birthday's coming up as of the day that I'm recording this. So also happy birthday to you. um, uh, yeah, so it was really cool because I got to ask her what color combinations she liked. I basically was just like buying colors and then throwing them together. And if she liked it, then awesome. I will put it in the pile of quilt squares you like. And if you do not like it, then I will put it in the scraps quilt, basically. So the one that I'm putting together is right now is the scraps quilt. Technically what it is, it's alternating scrap squares. It's rows of scrap squares followed by rows of solid colors. So like it would just be a plain, like just pink. Then another scraps layer. And then it would be a dual color layer. So something like this where it's we've got one brown strand and one black strand. And then I just crochet them together and it makes a nice blend. At least in my opinion, like some colors go really well together. Like I have a favorite square. I don't know if it's on this particular blanket. It might have gone into my cousin's blanket. But I call it the Starburst square because it's like a baby pink and a buttery yellow, and it just kind of reminds me of Starburst, like a literal the candy, like the packaging with the light yellow and the light pink, and it's a very happy color. So I thought it was really cool, and I like it a lot. Yeah, it's getting a little dark. I may turn on the light pretty soon. We're actually making pretty good time. So about the quilt squares, I cast on. I say cast on. That's technically a knitting term. I chain 24, and then because it's a double stitch, I chain 3 more and turn and skip the first one back. So this is 24, and I will be doing 12 rows. And it's nice because it's a square, and so then I can do that thing. The I don't know what it's called. I don't know anything technical. I'm going based on vibes. But yeah, that way I can position them. Oh, here, I've got a couple here. So like that, and I would line it up next to so that the grain of the stitch, I don't know if this is what we're calling it. We're going to call it that. It's now a piece of meat, but these would go horizontally and these would go vertically. And then that way we would stagger them, basically. Yeah. I did mention that it's kind of dark, but I don't mind because, as you can probably tell, I don't really need to look at it at this point. 25 years, and I primarily do one stitch. I can mostly do this by feel at this point. And like I said, it's the most relaxing hobby for me. I mean, I've been getting into like the Zen doodles. Been getting into it. I think the date I wrote in there because I got into the habit of writing dates in my books and stuff. I think I got that Zen tangling book in like 2016. So like I have other hobbies that have had longevity. What, kiddo? Okay. I turned on the light. Now I am like yellowy orange. Oh, color correction. That's always fun. Okay, 21 minutes so far. That's not that bad, honestly. Oh, 22. But yeah, like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I just kind of thought I'd start and see where it took me, because I don't think I've ever actually filmed myself crocheting. Or not, at least not like a long version. I don't even know if you're going to see the long version, because I kind of was like, maybe I'll do like a speed video of it, or maybe I'll just take this and then also make a short. We'll compress it into a short for the shorts or something. I don't know. But yeah. Like I said, just kind of thought I'd start and see where this goes. I did intend to like listen to a podcast or watch something, but guess I'll just talk instead. It's fine. But yeah, so we just go back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, maybe one of these days when I've got a whole bunch of like end bits and scraps, then I can make an actual scrap square. But you know what? I'm happy to start with a slightly more quote unquote normal square. I don't know what normal is anyway. But yeah, so the quilt that you guys have been seeing little bits of updates on is my scraps quilt, as I said. It's nearly done. I am currently putting on the scraps row at the end of the quilt. So I'm putting on the 12th row. And then after that, I will be putting on the 12th column, which then I'll have to be doing like scraps, solid scraps. What did I call these? Two-tone? Anyway. And then repeating for the 3 cycles, because 12 by 12. So it's getting there. Like I said, the crocheting part is the easy part. It's the like mental flow state for me. Yeah. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit of an expensive hobby at times. Haven't bought any yarn in a while because, budgeting, and also because I've been catching up on sewing them together. Let's be real, the most annoying part of the quilt making process is the sewing all of my different colored squares together bit, because obviously this is the easiest part. Yeah, because when I'm sewing it together, because they are staggered, like the like perpendicular to each other, I have to pay attention, because otherwise they might not line up. Like there's a certain amount of give to the yarn, and if I'm not paying attention, then they might not align correctly. I did figure out a way to remedy that the other day by using like a safety pin. But I know it worked. It just wasn't like necessarily my favorite. That was really fast. Baby girl, that was like a half a sippy cup. There's no more chalky milk. Okay? That was way too fast.
You want help?
Yeah, there's no more chalky milk in that carton tonight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is not my fault. You drank too fast. You can have water at this point. Would you like mommy's water? Okay.
I want my own water.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Well, you just let me know if you're thirsty, or you can always go and bother Daddy.
I can put the daddy.
You can go ask Daddy for water if you want.
Because I can put the
I don't mean literally. I was joking. You can still talk to Daddy.
I want to put the and talk to daddy.
Okay. You're funny.
So I paused it.
Oh, okay. You're gonna go and ask Dada for water?
So I'm gonna put the and then talk to.
Oh, okay. You go hang out. Love you. Okay. For the record, the bothering was a joke. He's gaming right now. He's gaming, and I'm having my me time with the crocheting as well. Because it's a little later in the evening. So we're kind of just doing our respective decompression. What, baby?
I pressed it.
You're so silly. You're so silly.
No.
How are we doing? We're getting there. Getting there. We'll count up in a sec. It's nice because these go really quickly. I was telling my husband when I started this that these usually take me about an hour if I'm going, like, without interruptions. So, we'll see. We will see. Hopefully the edit won't take that long either, though. I do like the editing process. You guys kind of know this from just like us referencing it and like our semi-snarky comments to ourselves. But I am the primary editor, which is to say that I do the actual like technical stuff where I do the recording and I save it to my hard drive and then put that into the video editor, and then I do what I like to call first pass, and which is primarily cutting trimming the bloopers, like if we've messed up in like our dun 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 dun. So I'll trim that. If we spent 10 minutes trying to remember one word, I will trim some of that. I will blur out my child's face for privacy, and like bleep out any personally identifying information like location wise. Oh, I said I was going to count. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, we're making really good time. Wow, 30. We're only at like 30. Okay, yeah. This is going really fast. Helps if you don't have to stop and tie off every 15 seconds. Not literally, but when I'm making the scrap squares, you can see that wherever I run out, I have to tie it off. So, like, yeah. Hopefully the background noise isn't too loud. I don't know how well my mic is picking things up. Usually when we're recording, I've got you guys on my dresser, which I use as a standing desk because I don't have a desk because we don't have the space in the apartment for that. We have a desktop in our office, but that's primarily used for my husband's work. It used to be my school desktop. I think we bought it like during the pandemic because both of our laptops went kaput at the same time, and I just transferred to university, which, it was super helpful that it died, that my laptop died at that point, and then his bugged out and died as well. Because, pandemic, gotta do everything online. Film classes on Zoom, super fun. There was a lot of like learning, like we're trying to learn film techniques, and the thing is that like when you're in films, you're not supposed to actually look at the camera. You're supposed to kind of look past the camera, just to the left of the camera, you know. Well, that was frustrating. I don't remember what I was saying. I think I was talking about editing. Something like, I think I was talking about the editing process a little bit. I don't know if this is interesting at all, but you know, this is me spitballing. But yeah, so when I do the first pass, I'm watching, I'm cutting out the ums and the dead space, and like any personal information, blurring my toddler's face. Yeah, any like anything that would potentially dox us on accident, I'll probably remove. And then I'll drop like my own comments, like the 75 cents joke, or like the really big fans with the emoji. I don't know, it might not be funny. I thought it was funny. Kat liked it, but Kat likes puns. She and my husband have that in common. It's really funny because I am a groaner. Like when my dad would make jokes or like be sweet on my mom, I was the one who would like groan or roll my eyes. The middle brother would be like, hee, tickled pink, and then the littlest one would be like, hey, that's my mom. So yeah, I was kind of the groaner one. I don't mind a good pun. A good pun, John Mark. But yeah. It also depends on my mood, but I tend to be a groaner more than a giggler. That said, I will send my husband and Kit Kat, like, various reels or shorts with puns in them, so, you know. Just because they're not always my thing doesn't mean I can't appreciate that my husband and my best friend would like them. But yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, we're on the last one already. That was crazy. So while we're finishing up, yeah, so the second pass, so I do the first pass, usually by myself. And that'll take me anywhere from 17 to 20 hours, depending on the length of the video, of course. But that's about how long it's been for the Muses episodes, the meandering ones, with the three of us. And then I will usually do a watch through with either Kat or Sierra or both of them, and they can make comments, add their own little commentary bits, which is why sometimes there will be text in different colors because we do color code our text. Or if I've missed something, you know, there have been some debates about like how much information to like display on the screen sometimes. For example, like if we're elaborating, because you know sometimes it takes a little bit for people to read the words on the screen, and so I might be in favor of having less text, or Kat might be in favor of just giving more time for people to read, stuff like that. But yeah, so the second pass will usually take anywhere from so far the edits have been cut down to about an hour and 20-ish, I think, so far. And our second edits will usually take 2 to 3 hours. So that's not bad. Did I lose my scissors? Oh, no, I did not. Cool, I have my scissors. Whoa, it got very yellow. That was weird. Anyway, so we double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and we're done. So do that. And then I personally tie off like this. That wasn't bad. That was less than 40 minutes. Minus the time that I had to take off to mom. But yeah, so there we go. So I like to use because I know it's getting sewn together, I tend to, rather than weave my ends in, I tie them off. Especially because, like, I very specifically do quilts of many colors. Maybe I should start calling them Technicolor quilts. Joseph, anyone? I have a soft spot for Joseph. But yeah. There we are. And we're good. We are good. That was the brown and black square. And if you liked this, let me know. If you want me to do another of these chats sometime, also let me know. And feel free to suggest colors or color combinations. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And how do we do the ending spiel? Yeah, so if you liked, hit the like button, drop me a comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you around. Bye.